since the day I was born, according to my pa. Ma died in childbirth. I was her first, last, and only. For she was sickly too, Pa said, for as far back as he'd known her. Ma was only 23 when she passed. A terribly short tenure on this earth, I know. Yet on the days when the coughing is at its worst, and every breath demands effort as if 10 great men were standing on my chest, crushing the very life from me. On those days, I understand. Me poor ma had 23 years of hard labor, but committed no crime. Till peace was found in the deepest, most restful sleep of all. 23 years. It was long enough. I'm not the only one in mind who wheezes and sighs in a way that makes your lungs sound like old organ pipes on a windy day. For I've heard it too, from the other one here, in the blackness. Whoever or whatever, I'm none too sure. But time and again, the gasping heralds his approach, and I steel myself until I hear the ticking. And then it all turns to naught, and I'm sinking, and it's choking, awful, terrible, like you can't imagine. I saw him once. It was late, I remember, as my coughing was fitful, and I had been sent to sleep in the infirmary so as not to disturb the others. I tossed and turned for ages, watching the moonlight dance on a blue glass bottle that I kept by my bed. I loved it as a thing of beauty and carried it with me everywhere, for it contained a soothing liqueur that would ease my worst attacks of breathlessness. The night was quite still and so sickly warm that I could not sleep, and my coughing had quite parched my throat, so that when I saw Mr. Thackeray go past the door in his rounds, I stepped out into the hallway to ask permission for a drink. He was standing still in the moonlit hall, Mr. Thackeray, as if listening intently to some faraway sound. I spoke, but he made not a movement. In my foggy half-sleep, I turned and stumbled back to my sick bed, but after a moment or two, I collected myself and returned to where he still stood, quite motionless. "Mr. Thackeray," I said, tugging at his sleeve, my eyes half closed with sleep. "Mr. Thackeray?" And then I looked up, and as the words took form in my mind, "'Tis not Mr. Thackeray," I felt myself being drawn from the inside out at a frightening rate, up, as if transported inside a great nothingness. They had no kindness towards me on account of my condition, the others and Matron. The only reason they took me in after Pa died was because I was considered too weak to be out on my own, so Matron said. Apparently some folk had expressed concern that, as I was not fit for work, I would likely turn to petty thieving to get by. So they put me in Grimhaven to at least keep me out of their hair and pockets for a few more years until I came of age. was not all bad. The lessons were distracting, and I did well in arithmetic, for I liked numbers. Except that my coughing usually upset someone and I would be sent out. Matron said that I had the wits to be a clerk, except no one would be able to stand listening to my wheezing day in and day out. Life is so unjust. I couldn't do woodworking with the other lads as the dust upset me. So more often than not, I was confined to polishing Matron's wretched silverware or oiling the sewing machines in the girls' workroom. At least the sewing room afforded the opportunity for the occasional peek at a slender ankle as I worked on the rattling machines. Well, why not? A lad would be a fool not to take such an opportunity when it presented, especially a weak and sickly lad with few prospects and fewer companions. Only old Crode saw my suffering. He tried to feed me up on extra gruel to put some meat on my bones, as he said. But the coughing kept me thin faster than even he could fatten me up. Most days I felt too ill to eat, but Mr. Crode would bully and insist that I clean every last morsel from my bowl, that I felt somewhat like a lamb being fattened for slaughter. At least his intentions were kind, and I was genuinely grateful, though I heartily detested the black tar remedy he smeared on my face to cure the sores that malted my lips, and the tobacco he would insist I inhale to ease my lungs. The boys, egged on by Rupert, called me Master Plagueface, for the sores were truly horrid. I became the butt of their jeers, and like a winged bird hid from their company, as I had little strength to fight back as a young man should. Rupert relished in my misery, and made daily life hellish with his cruel pranks, locking me in the cellar and hiding my precious medicinal bottle, only giving it up on Mr. Crode's insistence, lest I die without it. For the most part, the girls steered well clear of me, afraid, I think, of catching my melancholy, if not my sickness. Only Molly afforded me some pity, a kind glance or a shy smile when we passed in the hallway. Charlie, too, made an effort to be kind and offered books to help me pass the hours, though I was but a middling reader. I am so tired. Enough now. I need to rest, for my chest hurts fit to burst, and I cannot find my medicinal bottle to ease the pain. If only I could breathe. But I choke here in the blackness, just as in the light. Is there no respite? Please, for this existence is torture beyond what I have ever endured. Please, find my medicine quickly now, before he returns, for then it will be worse than ever. Quickly, hurry. It hurts. Help me. Help.